नहमदुहु व नसल्ली अला रसूलिहिल करीम अम्मा बाद. With the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we are now proceeding to read Surah Al-AHZAB. This is the Madani surah after 8 Makki surahs that we have read. After Surah An-Nur, we had 8 Makki surahs. Surah Al-Furqan, Surah Al-Shu'ara, Surah Al-Naml, Surah Al-Qasas, Surah Al-Ankabut, Surah Al-Rum, Surah Al-Luqman, Surah Al-Sajdah. And now this Surah Al-Ahzab. Just as we had 14 Makki surahs and then Surah Al-Nur. Starting from Surah Yusuf, Surah Yunus to Surah Mu'minun, there were 14 Makki surahs, and then came the one Madani surah, that was Surah Al-Nur. Here we had 8 Makki surahs and then Surah Al-Ahzab. And I had told you there and then when we were reading Surah Al-Nur that although Surah Nur is also isolatory over there, no pair is there. And in the same way there is no pair here of Surah Al-Ahzab. This is also solitary. But they are like sisters. They can be regarded as a very beautiful pair of surahs. Subjects are very similar. You know, the subject of hijab and covering of the bodies for women, when they go out from these houses, is given in Surah Al-Ahzab. But what are the etiquettes of covering the bodies of women within the house? That is given in Surah An-Nur. So you have these similarities. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Size also is nearly very equal. 9 sections of Surah An-Nur, 9 sections of Surah Al-Ahzab. And you will find, the ayah number 35 of Surah An-Nur was very profound. Allahu nuru samawati wal ard. The simile for the light of Nur that is there in the hearts of the believing people. But what is the outward result in the behavior? That is given in ayah number 35 of this surah. So there is a connection between ayah 35 in Surah An-Nur and ayah 35 of Surah Al-Ahzab. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Ya ayyuhan nabiyyu ittaqillaha wa la tuti'il kafirin wal munafiqin innallaha kana aliman hakima. O Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, fear Allah and obey nobody else except Him. وَلَا تُطِعِ الْكَافِرِينَ. Don't obey these disbelievers, وَالْمُنَافِقِينَ, and the hypocrites. Verily, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is all-knowing, all-wise. وَاتَّبِعْ مَا يُوحَى إِلَيْكَ مِنْ رَبِّكَ. And follow whatever is being revealed to you from your Lord. إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَانَ بِمَا تَعْمَلُونَ خَبِيرًا. Verily, Allah is aware of what you are doing. وَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ. And have your faith and trust in Allah. وَكَفَى بِاللَّهِ وَكِيلًا. And Allah is sufficient as a guardian. مَا جَعَلَ اللَّهُ لِرَجُلٍ مِّن قَلْبَيْنِ فِي جَوْفِهِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not placed 2 hearts in the body of a man. وَمَا جَعَلَ أَزْوَاجَكُمُ اللَّائِي تُظَاهِرُونَ مِنْهُنَّ أُمَّهَاتِكُمْ. And He has not accepted that when you say to your wife, you are like my mother to me, she doesn't become your mother, she's your wife. وَمَا جَعَلَ أَدْعِيَاكُمْ أَبْنَاءَكُمْ. And in the same way, your adopted sons, whom you adopt, they are not your sons. ذَلِكُمْ قَوْلُكُمْ بِأَفْوَاهِكُمْ. These are your words which you utter with your mouths. If you say to your wife, you are like my mother to me, well, it has no meaning. Wife is wife. Mother is the one who gave birth to you, not your wife. In the same way, your sons, the adopters, there is no concept of adoption in Islam. Wallahu yaqulul haqqa wa huwa yahdi sabil. Allah says whatever is true and He guides you to this correct path, right way. Actually, there is a background of this surah, especially this first section, and then the details of that historical event will come in the third and fourth sections of the surah. The background is that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam had a slave, Zayd ibn Harisa. He had adopted him, freed him, adopted him as his son. Now he is called Zayd ibn Muhammad. But then when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, there is no adoption in Islam, Uduhum le abaihim, you have to call them with the names of their fathers. So again, Zayd ibn Harisa was called Zayd ibn Harisa. But this grieved him. Now, to console him, the Prophet ﷺ proposed that he should marry his own cousin of Muhammad ﷺ, daughter of a aunt, paternal aunt, granddaughter of Abdul Muttalib, Zainab bint Jahash radiyallahu ta'ala anha. She was a mu'mina. Now the Prophet proposed to Zainab and her family that they should accept Zayd and give Zainab in marriage to Zayd. The family was not ready because he had been a slave, although he has been now released from their slavery. Now he is a free man, but even then, the status is not equal to a free man. He is mawali. So they were not ready. But when the Prophet insisted, they agreed. So Zainab bint Jahash agreed to marry. But these husband and wife, they couldn't go together. Actually, Zainab couldn't give that respect to Zayd, which a wife should give to her husband. So they were not going, the family life was not going well. So Zayd decided to divorce her. Now the Prophet thought, in the beginning I compelled them that they should accept Zayd and they should give Zainab in marriage to Zayd. Now if Zayd divorces her, it will be a shock for them, absolutely a degradation. So now the only way of consoling Zainab would be that I should marry her myself. Then she will be consoled. First I compelled her to accept Zayd as her husband. She was reluctant. And now Zayd is divorcing him. So he kept saying to Zayd, keep her with you, don't divorce her. Things will be better. But he had in his mind that if he divorces, then there is no way other than he will have to marry her. But what will happen? What will people say? Well, Zayd was his adopted son. So she is the wife of the adopted son. And according to the Arabian customs, adopted son was just equal to son. So people will, raise a hue and cry. What has happened to this person? He says he is a prophet, he is a messenger of Allah, and he is going so low. He is marrying the divorced wife of his own son, adopted son. So that was the fear that Muhammad had in mind. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted that this matter should be settled once for all. That adopted sons is nothing and no relations can become forbidden due to this adoption. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in the heavens, He decided that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam marry Hazrat Zainab. So this is the historical background of this surah. Ud'uhum li'abaihim, call them with the names of their fathers, the adopted sons. You shouldn't say Zayd ibn Muhammad, you should say Zayd ibn Harisa. Huwa aqsatu indallah, that is most equitable in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فَإِن لَمْ تَعْلَمُوا آبَاءَهُمْ, and if you don't know their fathers, who are their fathers? Just as in this society, now many people don't know who were their fathers. So now they say, okay, tell us the name of your mother. So but here, maybe there could be someone whose father was unknown. فَإِن لَمْ تَعْلَمُوا آبَاءَهُمْ, if you don't know their fathers, فَإِخْوَانُكُمْ فِي الدِّينِ, even then they are your brothers in deen, in religion. وَمَوَالِيكُمْ, and they are friends. وَلَيْسَ عَلَيْكُمْ جُنَاحٌ فِي مَا أَخْطَأْتُمْ بِهِ, and there is no blame on you if you have sometimes mistaken. وَلَكِنْ مَا تَعَمَّدَتْ قُلُوبُكُمْ, but whatsoever you earn, with the intentions of your hearts, for that you will be held responsible. وَكَانَ اللَّهُ غَفُورٌ رَحِيمًا, and verily Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is forgiving, merciful. النَّبِيُّ أَوْلَى بِالْمُؤْمِنِينَ مِنْ أَنفُسِهِمْ. The Prophet is closer and dearer to all the believers than their own selves, than their own lives. وَأَزْوَاجُهُ أُمَّهَاتُهُم, and his wives are like mothers to them. Azwajul Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam wa radiyallahu ta'ala anhunna, they are the mothers of the Ummah. Ummul Mu'minin, Aisha, Ummul Mu'minin Hafsa, Ummul Mu'minin Salma. They are all mothers. They are mothers for this Ummah. Wa ulul arham ba'dhum awla bi ba'dhin, those who are related by blood relations, relations of the womb of the mothers. Well, they are closer to each other fi kitabillah, in the divine law, in Sharia. Min al-mu'mineen wal-muhajirin, then the other believers and the muhajirin. But illa an taf'alu ila awliyaikum ma'rufa, you can do good to your friends. Well, there was someone muhajir, he was declared to be brother of an Ansari, you do good to him. But he will not be inheritor. Inheritor will be only your own sons and your own daughters, and so on and so forth. They will not be included in the inheritance. This is there in Surah Al-Anfal also. Illa an taf'alu ila awliyaikum ma'rufa, during your lifetime you can do any good to them, you can gift them, you can help them. Kana zalika fil kitabi mastura, this has already been inscribed in the book. Wa idh akhadna min an-nabiyyina mithaqahum, and when we took a covenant from all the prophets, wa minka, and we took it from you also, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, wa min Nuhin, and from Nuh, wa Ibrahim and Ibrahim, wa Musa and Musa, wa Isa ibn Maryam, and from the Isa son of Maryam, wa akhadna minhum mithaqan ghaliza, and we had taken from all of them a very solemn covenant. This covenant we have read in Surah Al-Imran. There's the detail. لِيَسْأَلُ الصَّادِقِينَ عَنْ صِدْقِهِمْ, so that Allah would question the truthful peoples regarding their truth. وَعَدَّ لِلْكَافِرِينَ عَذَابًا أَلِيمًا, but He has prepared for the disbelievers a very painful chastisement. Now, in the two sections that are coming, there is a narration of the conditions of Ghazwatul AHZAB, the battle of the trenches. The background is that after Uhud, now the people of Quraysh mostly, they were not thinking that they should invade again. But the Jews who had been turned out from Medina, Banu Qainqa, Banu Nuzair, they conspired. They went to Khaybar and asked the Jews of Khaybar they should come and invade Medina. They went to Makkah. They said, "Oh Quraysh, you try again, once again, we shall help you from inside. But you try it." And even they went to the eastern side of Arabia, Banu Ghatfan, of the tribes of the Najd, and they, included them also in this conspiracy. So as a result, an army of 12,000 people came and surrounded Medina. It was a very big event. A small township, not a town even, a small township, a few thousand people living over there. And 12,000 men surrounding it, fully equipped with all the machinery for their war and what the weapons that they needed. So this was the hardest test for the believers, whether they forbear it, persevere, they stand firm, loyal to Allah and His Messenger, or if there is any disease in their hearts, it shows out. So this is actually what we read last night in Surah Al-Ankabut. أَحَسِبَ النَّاسُ أَن يُتْرَكُوا أَن يَقُولُوا آمَنَّا وَهُمْ لَا يُفْتَنُونَ وَلَقَدْ فَتَنَّا الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِهِمْ فَلَيَعْلَمَنَّ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ صَدَقُوا وَلَيَعْلَمَنَّ الْكَاذِبِينَ. And then later, وَلَيَعْلَمَنَّ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَلَيَعْلَمَنَّ الْمُنَافِقِينَ. Allah is going to make distinct who is a real believer, true believer, and who is a hypocrite. And only after testing you can know it. Otherwise, they are intermingled with each other. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, O you who believe, recall, ni'matallahi alaykum, the blessing of Allah that came to you. Is jaatkum junudun, when many armies came over you. Not junud. Now this is because a conglomeration of these armies, someone had come from south, from Mecca, others had come from north, coming from Khaybar, and the third group had come from the east, from Najd. Isjatkum junudun. When armies came over you, farsalna alayhim rihan. What happened actually? About for 1 month, there was a sort of standoff between two armies, because the advice was given by Salman Farsi radiyallahu ta'ala that in such conditions, when it becomes difficult to fight your enemy in the open field, in Persia, we dig trenches to defend ourselves before these trenches. So the trenches were dug by the command of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam under the advice of Salman Farsi radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, and they couldn't cross it. So they stayed there for about a month. But then a very big, a wind came, very strong wind, and it took away their tents, etc. And the hearths on which they were cooking their meals, due to that fire, whole the camps got ablaze and caught fire, and then they went away without achieving anything. Only 2 or 3, people came by crossing this trench, but then there was one Abd ibn Wad. He was a very big and very brave person, 90 years old, and he used to be called the bravest man in Arabia. So he came over and he said, "Okay, let somebody come and meet me." Hazrat Ali came forward, radiyallahu ta'ala. Now Hazrat Ali was of short stature and just young man. He laughed. "Who are you? You want to fight me?" He said, "Yes." "Okay." Then he said, "I give 3 wishes to a person who comes to fight with me, so that I can grant any of his wish. Do you have any wishes?" Ali said, "Yes. My first wish is you become Muslim." He said, No. Nothing doing. "Okay. My second is you go back from this fight." He said, "No." Third, Ali said, "Okay, come and fight me." And he was astonished. "Oh, I never thought there is any person in this world who can invite me, come and fight me." But he was put to death by Hazrat Ali radiyallahu anhu, sent to the hell. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu uzkuru ni'matallahi alaykum iz ja'atkum junudan farsalna alayhim rihan. We sent a wind over them. Wa junudan lan tarawha, and we sent armies which you couldn't see, armies of angels. Wa kana Allahu bima ta'maluna basira, and verily whatever you were doing, Allah was seeing. Is ja'ukum min fawqikum, when they come over you from above you, that is from the north, from Khaybar. Wa min asfala minkum, and from lower area of Arabia from you, and that was Hijaz down to Makkah. Is ja'ukum min fawqikum wa min asfala minkum wa iz zaghatil absar, and when the eyes swerved, wa balagatil qulubul hanajira, and the hearts, in fear, they reached the throats. Wa tazunnuna billahi zununa, and now you were having doubts about Allah in your minds. Hunalika ibtuliyal mu'minun, at that time the believers were tried. Wa zulzilu zilzalan shadida, and they were shaken with a severe shaking. With the result that, wa iz yaqulul munafiqun, now the munafiqeen, they said, وَالَّذِينَ فِي قُلُوبِهِمْ مَرَضٌ, and those in whose hearts was a disease. مَا وَعَدَنَا اللَّهُ وَرَسُولُهُ إِلَّا غُرُورًا, whatever promises were made to us by Allah and His Messenger, they have proved to be false promises. Muhammad had promised us that we shall conquer Rome and we shall conquer Persia and we shall have, lot of bounties and booties and everything. What has happened to us? Now it seems the game is finished. We are in no way in a position to fight this host of 12,000 people. Whole of Arabia, so to say, has joined hands against us. The Jews from the north, the Quraysh from the south, and Banu Ghatfan from the east, very fierce fighters. So their nifaq, their hypocrisy, that came out from their hearts on their tongues. وَإِذْ قَالَ طَائِفَةٌ مِّنْهُمْ يَا أَهْلَ يَثْرِبَ, and some of them were saying, "O people of Yathrib." Yathrib was the name of Medina before Muhammad came over there, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. "La maqama lakum." There's no stand for you. Now you can't stand here. It's impossible. You can't fight this army. Farji'u, go back. وَيَسْتَأْذِنُ فَرِيقٌ مِّنْهُمْ, and some of the people among them, they were asking the permission, an-Nabiyya, from the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, يَقُولُونَ, saying, "Inna buyutana aura." Our houses are exposed. Maybe we are here and the enemy comes and attacks our houses. Our women folk are there, our children are there. So please give us the permission, we go and guard our houses. وَمَا هِيَ بِعَوْرَةٍ, and they were not exposed. إِن يُرِيدُونَ إِلَّا فِرَارًا, only what they wanted was to flee from the battlefield. وَلَوْ دُخِلَتْ عَلَيْهِمْ مِنْ أَقْطَارِهَا, and if an entrance had been forced against them by the enemy from all sides, ثُمَّ سُئِلُوا الْفِتْنَةَ, and then they were asked to sedition and renegade. You leave Islam and come back, and you should stand in revolt against Muhammad. مَا لَآتَوْهَا وَمَا تَلَبَّسُوا بِهَا إِلَّا يَسِيرًا, they would have certainly accepted it and would have not hesitated about it but slightly. This is the condition of the munafiqeen. وَلَقَدْ كَانُوا عَاهَدُوا اللَّهَ مِنْ قَبْلِ, and they had been promising Allah beforehand. They had made a firm covenant with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. لَا يُوَلُّونَ الْأَدْبَارِ, they will not turn their backs from the battlefields. وَكَانَ عَهْدُ اللَّهِ مَسْئُولًا, and verily the covenant made with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to be asked about. What did you do with that covenant? You fulfill it or you broke it? قُلْ لَن يَنْفَعَكُمُ الْفِرَارِ, say to them, O Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, this flight from this battlefield will not be able to give you any benefit. In farartum min al-maut, if you want to fly away from death, death can come into your houses. Are you sure death will not come? The angel of death cannot enter your house. Awil qatl, or slaughter. وَإِذَا لَا تُمَتَّعُونَ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا, even if you are not killed here, but you have to die. You cannot hope to live forever in this world. قُلْ مَنْ ذَا الَّذِي يَعْصِمُكُم مِّنَ اللَّهِ, tell them, who is the one who can save you and protect you against Allah? In arada bikum su'an, if Allah intends something bad for you. Aw arada bikum rahmah, and if Allah intends some mercy for you, who can stop it? وَلَا يَجِدُونَ لَهُم مِّن دُونِ اللَّهِ وَلِيًّا وَلَا نَصِيرًا, and they will not find besides Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala any protector or no friend. قَدْ يَعْلَمُ اللَّهُ الْمُعَوِّقِينَ مِنْكُمْ, Allah very well knows those who hinder others. Don't go, don't go. وَالْقَائِلِينَ لِإِخْوَانِهِمْ, and who say to their brothers, هَلُمَّ إِلَيْنَا, come back to us, come back to us, come back from the battlefield. وَلَا يَأْتُونَ الْبَأْسَ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا, and they themselves don't go there to the battlefield, but only very little. For a while they came and then went back, slipped away. أَشِيهَةً عَلَيْكُمْ, they are very miserly for you, O mu'mineen, O believers. They don't want that any good should come to you. فَإِذَا جَاءَ الْخَوْفُ رَأَيْتَهُمْ يَنْظُرُونَ إِلَيْكُمْ تَدُورُ أَعْيُنُهُمْ كَالَّذِي يُخْشَىٰ عَلَيْهِ مِنَ الْمَوْتِ, when there is a condition of fear and danger, you will see them looking to you, their eyes rolling like one who swoons of death. If death is coming, and the eyes are going to this direction, that direction, this is the condition, because they care very much for their lives. And when there is a fighting, there is the risk of life. فَإِذَا ذَهَبَ الْخَوْفُ, and when that fear has gone, سَلَقُوكُمْ بِأَلْسِنَةٍ حِدَادٍ, now they attack you with very sharp tongues. أَشِيهَةٍ عَلَى الْخَيْرِ, being covetous of the best spoils that you have. أُولَٰئِكَ لَمْ يُؤْمِنُوا, actually these people never believed. They said they believed, they were not true believers. They had the guise of Islam only. وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَن يَقُولُ آمَنَّا بِاللَّهِ وَبِالْيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ وَمَا هُمْ بِمُؤْمِنِينَ. This is the first ayah of the second section, Surah Al-Baqarah. 3 categories of people discussed in the beginning of Surah Al-Baqarah. The true mu'mineen, and this is their character. Then those who had decided finally not to accept Islam. And for them it is equal whether you warn them or not. Kuffar. Khatam Allahu ala qulubihim. On their hearts a seal has been put. And third is the category in between. They say we are Muslims and believers, but they are not Muslims. Ulaika lam yu'minu fa'ahbata Allahu a'malahum. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made all their good deeds fruitless. What does it mean? They have been praying, offering prayers under the imamah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the mosque of the Prophet. These were good deeds. But actually, because they didn't have the real faith in their hearts, so all their good deeds have gone in vain, fruitless. وَكَانَ ذَلِكَ عَلَى اللَّهِ يَسِيرًا. And this is very easy for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. يَحْسَبُونَ الْأَحْزَابَ لَمْ يَذْهَبُوا. When those groups and those armies had gone back, even then, the fear was so great that these munafiqeen thought they have not gone. They might come, they might return at any time. وَإِيَّاتِ الْأَحْزَابِ. And if these armies come back, yawaddu, they would very much, like, yawaddu law annahum baduna fil a'rab. Would that we were among the people of the desert, not at Medina, not facing this situation which we are facing today. Yes, yalun an ambaikum, and from there we would have inquired about the news, what happened at Medina. Walau kanu fikum ma qatalu illa qalila. And if they remain within you, they are not going to fight except a little. Laqad kana, now the reverse, converse side. On the one side, these munafiqeen, their nifaq came from their hearts on their tongues. On the other side, لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ لِمَنْ كَانَ يَرْجُو اللَّهَ وَالْيَوْمَ الْآخِرَ وَذَكَرَ اللَّهَ كَثِيرًا. Verily, indeed, for you there is a best and excellent pattern and ideal and example to be followed in the person of the Prophet of Messenger of Allah. لِمَنْ كَانَ يَرْجُو اللَّهَ. But only those of you who hope to meet Allah and hope for the coming of the last day and who remember Allah much, they will be able to avail of this model. Muhammad is a model, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, for every mu'min, for every believing person. He should try to emulate him, to follow in his footsteps, to copy him in his seerah and character. This is uswa hasana. Laqad kana lakum fi rasulillahi uswatun hasana. But to be able to avail this uswa hasana, to absorb this into your own characters, you have to fulfill number one, liman kana yarjullah, who really believes in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, wal yawm al-akhir, and the last day, day of judgment, wa zakara Allah kasira, and he remembers Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala very much. وَلَمَّا رَأَى الْمُؤْمِنُونَ الْأَحْزَابَ. Now when the true believers saw those armies, قالوا, they said, هَذَا مَا وَعَدَنَا اللَّهُ وَرَسُولُهُ. This is what was promised to us by Allah and His Messenger. Why? In Surah Al-Baqarah, just the first surah after Hijrah, that ayah had already been revealed. وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِّنَ الْخَوْفِ وَالْجُوعِ وَنَقْصٍ مِّنَ الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَنفُسِ وَالثَّمَرَاتِ. This warning was given to them in the very beginning. We shall test you, we shall try you. Some conditions of khawf, fear, then, hunger, then destruction of property, and even lives. All these things will come in this way. Be warned beforehand. So they said, okay, this is the same thing which the Prophet had promised to us. هَذَا مَا وَعَدَنَا اللَّهُ وَرَسُولُهُ. This is that test which has come now, about which the Prophet and Allah had forewarned us. وَصَدَقَ اللَّهُ وَرَسُولُهُ. And whatever Allah said was true, and whatever the Messenger said came to be true. وَمَا زَادَهُمْ إِلَّا إِيمَانًا وَتَسْلِيمًا. And this only increased in them in faith and submission. They become more convinced, they became more submissive to Allah's will. مِنَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ رِجَالٌ. From among these believers there are men, صَدَقُوا مَا عَهْدُ اللَّهِ عَلَيْهِ, who have already fulfilled the covenant that they made with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ قَضَى نَحْبَهُ. Among them are those who have already fulfilled their woe. That is, they have laid down their lives. They have been martyred in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So their woe is fulfilled. وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ يَنْتَظِرُ, and the others are waiting for their turn. When our turn comes, and we also lay down our lives for the cause of Islam, for the cause of the deen of Allah, and our covenant with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is fulfilled. وَمَا بَدَّلُوا تَبْدِيلًا, and they have made no change in their covenant. لِيَجْزِيَ اللَّهُ الصَّادِقِينَ بِصِدْقِهِمْ, so that Allah should give reward to the truthful for their truth. وَيُعَذِّبَ الْمُنَافِقِينَ إِنْ شَاءَ, and chastise these hypocrites if He likes. أَوْ يَتُوبَ عَلَيْهِمْ, and maybe, if He likes, He gives them a chance to apologize, to mend their ways, to change their characters, to become real Muslims and Mu'mins. إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَانَ غَفُورًا رَحِيمًا, verily Allah Ta'ala is forgiving and merciful. I told you when we were reading Surah An-Nisa and Surah Tawbah, that in those two surahs, the door of Tawbah and repenting for the munafiqeen is declared closed. سَوَاءٌ عَلَيْهِمْ أَسْتَغْفَرْتَ لَهُمْ أَمْ لَمْ تَسْتَغْفِرْ لَهُمْ لَنْ يَغْفِرَ اللَّهُ لَهُمْ. Now it is equal for them, whether, O Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, you ask forgiveness of Allah for them or you don't ask. Allah is not going to forgive them. And the ayah, إِن تَسْتَغْفِرْ لَهُمْ 70 مَرَّةً لَنْ يَغْفِرَ اللَّهُ. Even if you ask Allah's forgiveness for them 70 times, Allah is not going to forgive them. So those doors were closed. But these surahs, Surah AHZAB in the 5th year, Surah Nisa in the 6th year, Surah Tawbah in the 9th and 8th years. So still this time, till the 5th year, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has kept the door of Tawbah and repenting open for the munafiqeen. وَرَدَّ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا بِغَيْظِهِمْ, and Allah turned back those who disbelieved in Muhammad, the armies that had come. Allah sent them back بِغَيْظِهِمْ, with their own rage. لَمْ يَنَالُوا خَيْرًا, they could not have attained any good. They came in full force, 12,000 of them. They had encircled Medina. They kept staying there for a month, but nothing. They could gain nothing. وَكَفَى اللَّهُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ الْقِتَالَ, and Allah was sufficient for fighting on behalf of the Muslims, on behalf of the Mu'mins. وَكَانَ اللَّهُ قَوِيًّا عَزِيزًا, and verily Allah is strong and mighty. وَأَنذَرَ الَّذِينَ ظَاهَرُوا مِنْ أَهْلِ الْكِتَابِ مِنْ صَيَاصِيهِمْ. Now, another aspect of this Ghazwatul Ahzab was that the last of the 3 tribes which remained in Yasrib till that time, Banu Qurayza, Banu Qaynuqa had already gone, Banu Nuzair had already gone. Out of these 3 tribes, now only one Banu Qurayza was there. And they also broke the covenant and agreement with Muslims, and they sided with the armies which had come out from outside. There was an intrigue and conspiracy. Somehow Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saved the believers and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam from the evil effects of this conspiracy. But now, when these armies had gone, there is a hadith that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was putting down his armor and his weapons, and Jibreel came to him alayhi salam, Ya Rasulullah, O Messenger of Allah, you are putting off your weapons and armor. We have not put off our weapons. These Banu Qurayza are to be punished. So the Prophet said to the Muslims, nobody should say the afternoon prayer of Asr without reaching the place of Banu Qurayza. So people went there, then there was, they encircled their township. There were fortresses actually, very strongly built. They had much weapons. They thought that we are very powerful, but then they decided to give up, surrender. There was not a fight. They surrendered, gave up. And the decision they themselves gave, Sa'd ibn Mu'az radiyallahu anhu, that whatever he decides about us, we shall accept. And he then decided that all the people who can take part in fighting, they should be killed, and the rest of the people should be taken as slaves, and all their properties be confiscated. So this worst, end came to Banu Qurayza, and it is an appendix of the battle of Ahzab. وَأَنذَرَ الَّذِينَ ظَاهَرُوهُمْ, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brought those people who had sided with them down from their forts and fortresses. وَقَذَفَ فِي قُلُوبِهِمُ الرُّعْبَ, and he cast awe into their hearts. فَفَرِيقًا تَقْتُلُونَ وَفَرِيقًا وَتَأْسِرُونَ فَرِيقًا. So some of them you are killing and others you are making slaves. وَأَوْرَثَكُمْ أَرْضَهُمْ, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made you inherit their lands. وَدِيَارَهُمْ, and their houses and dwellings. وَأَمْوَالَهُمْ, and their wealth and possessions. وَأَرْضًا لَن تَطَئُوهَا, and land which you had not trampled under your feet. No fighting took place. Without that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you this. And this is, called, one is wal ghanima. When there is fight, then there is ghanima. But this is another form of booty. And here, it is all for Allah and His Messenger and the poor among the Muslims. It has not to be distributed among the people who took part in the expedition. Now starts that part of the surah which deals with the matters of women, and also that special incident of Hazrat Zainab bint Jahsh radiyallahu ta'ala anha, Ummul Mu'mineen, because then the Prophet married him. Ya ayyuhan nabiyyu qul li azwajika, O Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, say to your wives, in kuntunna turidna al-hayata ad-dunya wa zinataha, if you desire the life of this world and the adornment thereof, fata'alayna, so come. Umatti'kunna, I give you the comforts of this life. Wa usarrihkunna sarahan jamila, and then set you free in a beautiful way. Then you can't live in my houses. I have decided faqr for me. I won't have any riches. I won't avail of any facilities or comforts or luxuries, what to speak of luxuries, even comforts. I have to live as a faqir, as the lowest of the believers. Now, if you want to live with me as my wives, you have to accept this condition. But if you want, no, we should have facilities and we should have comforts of life. Now, because other believers have also much of the comforts, now they are quite rich. So why shouldn't we be given? So if you decide that, okay, come, I will give you the wealth of this world, but then you will have to depart from my houses. وَإِن كُنتُنَّ تُرِدْنَ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ, and if you desire Allah and His Messenger, وَالدَّارَ الْآخِرَةَ, and the house of the hereafter, فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ أَعَدَّ لِلْمُحْسِنَاتِ مِنْكُنَّ أَجْرًا عَظِيمًا. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prepared for those amongst you who do good deeds a very mighty reward. Now what was the result? They all said, we prefer Allah and His Messenger, and we accept all these conditions. So there was no parting of ways, even of a single wife of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ya nisa nabiyya man taba minkunna man yati minkunna bi fahishatin mubayyana. O wives of the Prophet, that one of you who commits a manifest indecency, something wrong, and it means, adultery. Man yati minkunna bi fahishatin mubayyanatin yudaf laha al-'adhabu dhi'fayn. She will be punished twice over, because you are wife of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You are living in the house of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If you do, there didn't happen such an incident, not at all, ma'azallah. But the guidance is being given that if you commit something wrong, so you will be punished twice. وَكَانَ ذَلِكَ عَلَى اللَّهِ يَسِيرًا, and this is very easy for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Don't think that Allah can't do it because you are the wives of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. No, Allah would do it. And the wife of Hazrat Lut was left behind with the kuffar to taste the chastisement. So this is, if any one of you takes to that path, that would be the decision of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَمَنْ يَقْنُتْ مِنْكُنَّ لِلَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ, and whosoever among you keeps obedient to Allah and His Messenger, وَتَعْمَلْ صَالِحًا, and keeps on doing good deeds, نُؤْتِهَا أَجْرَهَا مَرَّتَيْنِ, we shall give her reward also twice over. وَأَعْتَدْنَا لَهَا رِزْقًا كَرِيمًا, and we have prepared for them a generous sustenance. Why this twice? Because now you will be the examples for the women of the Muslims. لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ. Please note, the life and character of Muhammad is an ideal example to be followed by all men. Whether a teacher or a preacher or a fighter or a ruler or a judge, any position. All positions were there which were held by Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. As father, as husband, any position that you can have in this world, you will find the uswa of Muhammad in that position also. If you are a ruler, Muhammad ruled sallallahu alaihi wasallam. How did he rule? If you are a father, what type of a father Muhammad was sallallahu alaihi wasallam? If you are a husband, what type of a husband Muhammad was sallallahu alaihi wasallam? You have all these examples. If you are commanding an army, what type of a commander-in-chief Muhammad was sallallahu alaihi wasallam? There is no position. If you are an imam of a masjid, Muhammad was imam. If you are a khatib of a masjid, Muhammad was a khatib. If you are a purifier of the souls of the people, he purified the souls of the people. So in any condition you might be, the males, for you complete model is Muhammad. But for women, he is not the complete model. He is not a woman. For the feminine part of their lives and characters, they need model. Now the wives of Muhammad are in that position, model. So if you adopt that exemplary, model character, then you will be given reward for that. So that the women of Ummah, they should follow you. They should follow Aisha, Hafsa, Salama. All these are models for them. So that is why their reward will also going to be double. Ya nisa nabiyyi lastunna kahadi min an-nisa'i in ittaqaytunna fala takhza'na bil qawl. O wives of the Prophet, you are not like ordinary women. In ittaqaytunna, if you have the fear of God in you, fala takhza'na bil qawl. Don't be very complacent and soft in your voices, in your saying. فَيَطْمَعَ الَّذِي فِي قَلْبِهِ مَرَضٌ. So that a person who has some disease in his heart might nourish a desire for you. فَيَطْمَعَ الَّذِي فِي قَلْبِهِ مَرَضٌ وَقُلْنَ قَوْلٌ مَعْرُوفًا. And you should say straight words only. Voice of woman also has a sex appeal for the male person. If some woman is speaking very softly, very politely, maybe that a person, if he is diseased himself, he harbors some hope that perhaps she is inclined towards me. So you have to be harsh. When you address the other men, you should be very harsh, not very soft. وَقَرْنَ فِي بُيُوتِكُنَّ. And stay in your houses. وَلَا تَبَرَّجْنَا تَبَرُّجَ الْجَاهِلِيَّةِ الْأُولَى. And don't display your adornment like the displaying of the time of the former paganism. When Islam had not come, what was your, what did you do? Women, with the best makeup and best dress, going out to show off to the people so that people should look towards them. Well, this was the practice of the women over there in the Jahiliyyah before Islam. Now, Allah is saying, now stop this. Now your social order is going to change. And first to change must be the wives of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. According to the principle, charity begins at home. So the revolution, the social revolution that was coming now in Medina, it started from the wives of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And first of all, they were chastised that you should do this, that this and this and this. Not chastised, they were educated and trained. وَقَرْنَ فِي بُيُوتِكُنَّ وَلَا تَبَرَّجْنَ تَبَرُّجَ الْجَاهِلِيَّةِ الْأُولَى وَأَقِمْنَ الصَّلَاةَ. Establish prayers. وَآتِينَ الزَّكَاةَ. And continue paying zakah. وَآتَيْنَ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ. And obey Allah and His Messenger. إِنَّمَا يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ لِيُذْهِبَ عَنْكُمُ الرِّجْسَ عَلَى الْبَيْتِ وَيُطَهِّرَكُمْ تَطْهِيرًا. Allah desires to take away from you all abominations and evils, and so that to purify you to the extreme purification. He wants to purify you, O wives of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, so that you become a befitting model for the women of the Muslim Ummah. وَاذْكُرْنَ مَا يُتْلَى فِي بُيُوتِكُنَّ مِنْ آيَاتِ اللَّهِ وَالْحِكْمَةِ. And remember what is recited by the Prophet in your houses from the revelations of Allah and the wisdom. Inna Allah kana latifan khabira. Verily Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is subtle and aware. Innal Muslimin. Now this is ayah number 35, which I mentioned in the beginning. Ayah number 35, Surah An-Nur. Allahu nuru samawati wal ardi masala nurihi kamishkatin fiha misbah ila akhir al-ayah. The similitude for the iman in the hearts. Now the iman is in the hearts. What is the external appearance of that iman? How it iman appears in the actions and characters. Now this is a very, very important ayah, because here, side by side, males and females, repeatedly they are mentioned. That all these things are open, not only for males, not men. All these things are open for women also. And you know, this moral equality between man and woman, Quran, this ayah is the proof of it. Legally, there are differences. The social system, the family system, there are differences. Ar-rijalu qawwamuna 'ala an-nisa. They are the rulers of the household, men, not women. But moral, spiritual, these two things, absolutely man and woman are equal. Innal muslimina wal muslimat. Verily, the Muslim males and females, wal mu'minina wal mu'minat, and believing men and women, wal qanitina wal qanitat, and obeying men and women, was sadiqina was sadiqat, and truthful men and women, was sabirina was sabirat, and those who are persevering among the men and the women, wal khashi'ina wal khashi'at, and those men who are humble and those women who are humble, was mutasaddiqina wal mutasaddiqat, and the charitable men and the charitable women, was saimina was saimat, and the men who fast and the fasting women, wal hafizina furujahum, and the men who guard their private parts, wal hafizat, in the same way the women who guard their private parts, was zakirin Allah kasiran was zakirat, and those men who remember Allah much, and in the same way those women who remember Allah much. A'addallahu lahum maghfiratan wa ajran azima. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prepared for all of them the forgiveness and a very big reward, very honorable and mighty reward. So have you counted how many are these attributes? 10 qualities for males and females. There is equality. You can achieve. Go ahead. وَمَا كَانَ لِمُؤْمِنٍ وَلَا مُؤْمِنَةٍ إِذَا قَضَى اللَّهُ وَرَسُولُهُ أَمْرًا. And it is not it doesn't behove a Muslim woman and a man that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Messenger have decided something, أَنْ يَكُونَ لَهُمُ الْخِيَرَةُ مِنْ أَمْرِهِمْ, that they think that they have a choice. Till such time that Allah's command doesn't come, you have a choice, do it or not do it. But when the command comes, you have to do it. Now there's no choice, no option for a mu'min who believes in Allah and His Messenger. وَمَنْ يَعْصِ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ فَقَدْ ضَلَّ ضَلَالًا بَعِيدًا. And whosoever disobeys Allah and His Messenger, so he or she has gone very far away, astraying. Now this is actually, in the background I told you, that when Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam wanted that Zainab bint Jahash should be married to Zayd ibn Harisa, neither Zainab was ready to do it, nor the family. But because this was the wish of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they surrendered. So, مَا كَانَ لِمُؤْمِنٍ وَلَا مُؤْمِنَةٍ. It doesn't behove of a believing man or a believing woman. إِذَا قَضَى اللَّهُ وَرَسُولُهُ أَمْرًا. When Allah and His Messenger have decided something, أَنْ يَكُونَ لَهُمُ الْخِيَرَةُ, that they think even now we have some option. وَمَنْ يَعْصِ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ فَقَدْ ضَلَّ ضَلَالًا بَعِيدًا. Whosoever disobeys, they said, okay, whatever is the command. And Zainab bint Jahash agreed. But then what happened? They were not going together well. وَإِذْ تَقُولُ لِلَّذِي أَنْعَمَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ. And recall, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when you were saying to the person whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had blessed, وَأَنْعَمْتَ عَلَيْهِ, and you also had been very merciful to him, أَمْسِكْ عَلَيْكَ زَوْجَكَ. Keep your wife with you. Don't divorce. When the news came to the Prophet that Zayd is going to divorce, called him. What are you doing? Keep your wife with you. Don't divorce her. وَاتَّقِ Fear Allah. I compelled her to marry you. Now you are going to divorce? this lot is going to come to her. وَتُخْفِي فِي نَفْسِكَ مَا اللَّهُ مُبْدِيهِ. And you were hiding in your heart which Allah was going to make clear, to open. Now from this, the enemies of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they have concocted stories that actually Muhammad had seen sallallahu alaihi wasallam Hazrat Zainab when she was taking a bath, and he fell in love with her and he wanted to marry her. And he actually forced Zaid. When Zaid came to know that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is interested in Zainab, then he decided to divorce. Now this is the story which is being said by these people, Orientalists, etc., who are the enemies of Islam. But it has no truth whatsoever. She was cousin of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Muhammad had seen her coming up of age. Not that he only when he saw her taking a bath and he fell in love with her, nothing of the sort. And here what was in the heart of Muhammad was only that what will people say? That she was the wife of his adopted son. How can he marry the wife of an adopted son? Although he has divorced, but she was the wife of the adopted son. And adopted son in their society was just equal to the real son. That was the thing that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was fearing. وَتُخْفِي فِي نَفْسِكَ مَا اللَّهُ مُبْدِيهِ. And you were considering in your mind that which Allah was going to disclose. وَتَخْشَى النَّاسِ. And you were fearing the people. وَاللَّهُ أَحَقُّ أَن تَخْشَوْا. And Allah has more right that you should fear Him. فَلَمَّا قَضَى زَيْدٌ مِنْهَا وَتَرَى. When finally Zaid divorced her, زَوَّجْنَاكَهَا. Now we have joined her in marriage to you. This is our command. Now you have to do it. This is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Zawwajnaka, we have given her in marriage to you already. That is why Hazrat Zainab radiallahu ta'ala anha used to say, and so to say, boast to other, wives of the Prophet. You were married here. My marriage was solemnized on the heaven. Your marriages were solemnized on this earth. My marriage was solemnized with Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the heaven. Allah solemnized the marriage. My marriage with Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Zawwajnakaha likay la yakuna alal mu'minina harajun. So that there should not remain on the believers any blame regarding fi azwaji adiyaihim, regarding the wives of their adopted sons, iza qadaw minhunna watra, when they have divorced them. Wa kana amrullahi maf'ula, and definitely the command of Allah had to be fulfilled. Ma kana ala nabiyyi min harajin fima faradallahu lahu. There is no blame for the Prophet in what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has ordained for him. Sunnatullahi fil ladina khala min qabl. This has been the rule of Allah, practice of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala regarding those also who were before, all the messengers before you. Wa kana amrullahi qadran maqdura, and definitely the commandment of Allah is a decree which is absolutely to be obeyed. Alladhina yuballighuna risalatillah, those who convey the messages of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, wa yakhshawnahu, and keep fearing Him. Wala yakhshawna ahadan illallah, and they don't fear anybody else except Allah. So Muhammad, don't fear. What will they say? Let them say. But you have to do what we have ordained, what we have decided. So that this law, this adopted son's status, that should be finished once for all. وَكَفَى بِاللَّهِ حَسِيبًا, and Allah suffices as the reckoner. مَا كَانَ مُحَمَّدٌ أَبَا أَحَدٍ مِّن رِجَالِكُمْ. Muhammad was not father of any of your men. Allah gave only daughters. The sons which He gave to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam died in the very early age, infancy. So, مَا كَانَ مُحَمَّدٌ أَبَا أَحَدٍ مِّن رِجَالِكُمْ. He is not the father of any men amongst you. وَلَكِنْ رَسُولَ اللَّهِ, He is the messenger of Allah. وَخَاتَمَ النَّبِيِّينَ, and He is the last, He is the seal of the prophets. No prophet is yet to come after Him. So if this rule is not, this wrong rule is not rectified now, who will rectify it? No other messenger is to come in this world. So finally it had to be done by Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. وَكَانَ اللَّهُ بِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ عَلِيمًا, and verily Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows everything. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu zkurullaha zikran kaseera. Oh, you who believe, remember Allah very much. وَسَبِّحُوهُ بُكْرَةً وَأَصِيلًا, and glorify Him in the evenings and mornings. هُوَ الَّذِي يُصَلِّي عَلَيْكُمْ وَمَلَائِكَتُهُ. It is He who sends down His blessings on you, as do His angels also. لِيُخْرِجَكُم مِّنَ الظُّلُمَاتِ إِلَى النُّورِ, so that He take you out from the darknesses into light. وَكَانَ بِالْمُؤْمِنِينَ رَحِيمًا, and He is very merciful for the believers. تَحِيَّتُهُمْ يَوْمَ يَلْقَوْنَهُ سَلَامٌ. Their salutation will be when they will meet Him, their Lord, salam, peace. وَعَدَّ لَهُمْ أَجْرًا كَرِيمًا, and Allah has prepared for them a very generous reward. يَا أَيُّهَا النَّبِيُّ إِنَّا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ شَاهِدًا وَمُبَشِّرًا وَنَذِيرًا وَدَاعِيًا إِلَى اللَّهِ بِإِذْنِهِ وَسِرَاجًا مُنِيرًا. These are 5, positions of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ya ayyuhan nabi, O Prophet, we have sent you inna arsalnaka, number 1, shahidan, to be witness over these people that you have conveyed to them the message that we sent to you. Number 1, wa mubashiran, and giver of the glad tidings to those who take to the right path. Number 3, naziran, warning those who reject you that for them hell is waiting. Number 4, wa da'iyan ilallahi biiznihi, and a caller towards Allah by His command. And number 5, was sirajam munira, a luminous lamp which shows way and path to the people at night. Bashiril mu'mineen, and give glad tidings to the believers. An bi anna lahum min Allahi fadlan kabira, that for them from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a very big bounty. وَلَا تُطِعِ الْكَافِرِينَ, and don't obey these kafirin, these disbelievers, وَالْمُنَافِقِينَ. In the same way, don't pay any heed to these hypocrites. وَدَّعْ أَحْزَابَهُمْ, ignore their mischiefs. وَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ, have your full faith and trust in Allah. وَكَفَى بِاللَّهِ وَكِيلًا, and definitely He is the best guardian, and He is sufficient as a guardian. يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا إِذَا نَكَحْتُمُ الْمُؤْمِنَاتِ ثُمَّ طَلَّقْتُمُوهُنَّ مِنْ قَبْلِ أَن تَمَسُّوهُنَّ. O believers, when you marry some Mu'min women and then you want to divorce them, before you have to even touch them, فَمَا لَكُمْ عَلَيْهِنَّ مِنْ عِدَّةٍ, now you don't have the waiting periods to be binding on them, because you have not met. So there is no iddah, تَعْتَدُّونَهَا, that you are going to count, that this iddah should be finished and then she can marry anybody else. No. When you never touched her, so there is no iddah. You divorce and immediately she can marry another husband. فَمَتِّعُهُنَّ, so now you give them something, some provisions. وَسَرِّهُنَّ سِرَاحًا جَمِيلًا, and then release them from your bond of marriage in a very goodly way. يَا أَيُّهَا النَّبِيُّ إِنَّا أَحْلَلْنَا لَكَ أَزْوَاجَكَ اللَّاتِي آتَيْتَ أُجُورَهُنَّ. O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, O Prophet, we have declared lawful for you your wives, whom you have paid their doors. وَمَا مَلَكَتْ يَمِينُكَ مِمَّا أَفَاءَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْكَ. And number 2, those women whom your right hand possesses out of those whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you as prisoners of war. Number 3, وَبَنَاتِ عَمِّكَ, the daughters of your uncles. وَبَنَاتِ عَمَّاتِكَ, and the daughters of your aunts, paternal aunts. وَبَنَاتِ خَالِكَ, and the daughters of your maternal uncle. وَبَنَاتِ خَالَاتِكَ, and the daughters of your maternal aunts. allati hajarna ma'aka, who have immigrated with you. Wamra'atan, and also Wamra'atan mu'minatan, any mu'min woman, any believing woman, in wahabat nafsaha, if she wants to give and dedicate herself to the service of Nabi, nafsaha lin Nabi, in aradan Nabiyo yanstadkaha, if Nabi also wants, the Prophet also wants, desires to wed her, okay, then she is also lawful. Khalisatan laka min dunil mu'minin. These concessions are exclusively for you, apart from the other believers. Khalisatan laka min dunil mu'minin. Qad alimna ma faradna alayhim fi azwajihim. We very well know what we have ordained to all the mu'minin believers regarding their wives. وَمَا مَلَكَتْ أَيْمَانُهُمْ, and whatever their right hands possess. لِكَيْلَا يَكُونَ عَلَيْكَ حَرَجٌ. So there should be no difficulty on you. You have to work as an administrator, as a ruler. So there are certain reasons why you should have more wives. So actually Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has decreed all them, they are permissible. Turji man tasha'u minhunna. You can set aside any one of them if you like. Watuwi ilayhi man tasha, and you can then take and her near to you again if you like. وَمَنِ ابْتَغَيْتَ مِمَّنْ أَزَلْتَ فَلَا جُنَاحَ عَلَيْكَ. And if you want to bring near to you whom you have set aside, فَلَا جُنَاحَ عَلَيْكَ, no blame over you. ذَلِكَ أَدْنَىٰ أَن تَقَرَّ عَيْنُهُنَّ. This is very near and hopeful that their eyes will keep cool. وَلَا يَحْزَنَّ, and they will not grieve. وَيَرْضَيْنَ بِمَا آتَيْتَهُنَّ كُلَّهُنَّ, and they will keep pleased with what you give all of them. وَاللَّهُ يَعْلَمُ مَا فِي قُلُوبِكُمْ. Allah knows what is in your hearts. وَكَانَ اللَّهُ عَلِيمًا حَلِيمًا, and verily Allah is knowing, forbearing. لَا يَحِلُّ لَكَ النِّسَاءُ مِن بَعْدٍ. But now, this is full stop. 5th year after Hijrah, now a full stop was put on the marriages of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now you cannot marry any other woman. لَا يَحِلُّ لَكَ النِّسَاءُ مِن بَعْدٍ. After today, now no woman is permissible for you to marry. وَلَا أَن تَتَبَدَّلَ بِهِنَّ مِنْ أَزْوَاجِكَ وَلَوْ أَعْجَبَكَ حُسْنُهُنَّ. Neither you can exchange, that you divorce one and take somebody else as your wife. وَلَوْ أَعْجَبَكَ حُسْنُهُنَّ, although her beauty might please you. إِلَّا مَا مَلَكَتْ أَيْمَانُكَ. The only exception will remain, except those whom your right hand possesses. There can come, after in the war, in booty, so there can be the slave girls, but not any wife. وَكَانَ اللَّهُ عَلَىٰ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ رَقِيبًا, and verily Allah is ever watcher over everything. بارك الله لي ولكم في القرآن العظيم ونفعني وإياكم بالآيات والذكر الحكيم.